Hi, Miss April.
Oh, hi, Billy. Who do you have here with you?
Oh, this here's my best friend, Hezekiah.
Hi, Hezekiah.
Hello, Miss April. It's very nice to meet you.
Do you guys go to school together?
No, Hezekiah goes to a school for the gifted. Although I don't know why it's called that. He says they don't ever get any presents at school.
Oh, well, a school for the gifted is for extremely smart students. Do you guys live close to each other?
Yes, we're neighbors.
Hezekiah's on my baseball team.
Oh, cool.
He's a really good pitcher.
I just calculate the vectors factoring in the current wind velocity and the batter's stature to determine the quintessential trajectory to get the strikeout. Simple physics and trigonometry.
I don't understand half of what he says, but he's my buddy.
Well, I'm glad you're both here. You're just in time to learn about Joshua and the Battle of Jericho.
Oh, stupendous. I love to learn.
Who's Joshua, Miss April?
He was the guy who led the Israelites into the land that God had promised to give them.
Oh, I thought that was Moses.
Well, when Moses was 80 years old, he led the Israelites out of Egypt, but when they got to the edge of the promised land, the people were too afraid to go in. Since they hadn't believed that God could help them, God would only let their children enter the land. They had to wander around in the wilderness for 40 years until the older generation had passed away.
80 plus 40. That would have made Moses 120 years old by then.
That's right. Moses died just before they entered the land, so his helper, Joshua, took his place. The first city they would need to fight against was called Jericho, and it had a huge wall around it to protect them.
Oh, I wish I had a wall in my bedroom between me and my little brother's beds. He's always getting into my stuff. He used my baseball glove to scoop up tadpoles in a mud puddle last week.
The Wilson A2000?
No, I keep that one hidden in a shoebox on the top shelf of the closet. It was the Adidas one with the triple stripe.
Oh, but that's also a very nice glove.
Oh, but we can talk about baseball gloves later. Miss April's learning us about Joshua right now.
And Jericho. Please proceed, Miss April. This story is captivating.
Well, the first thing Joshua did was send 2 men to spy out the city.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. I'd like to be a spy when I grow up.
It's a dangerous occupation.
Yes, and the guys that Joshua sent almost got caught. But thankfully, a woman named Rahab helped them hide under some things on the rooftop of her house, and then she told the soldiers who came looking for them that they had already left.
Well, that was nice of her. Did they give her something to thank her?
Yes, they told her that they would protect her and her family when the Israelites won the battle. She just had to make sure her whole family was in her house on that day. After they made this promise to her, she helped him escape through her window because her house was part of the city's wall.
Oh, that was handy. They could just slip right on out the window and be outside the wall. If I had a wall in my bedroom, I wouldn't put any windows in it. That way my brother, Booger Ray, he couldn't get in. So did the spies make it back okay?
Yep. After they told Joshua everything they had seen, the Israelites crossed into the Promised Land by going through the Jordan River.
I remember my teacher saying the Jordan River is pretty wide and deeper than the height of this room. They must have all been really good swimmers.
Well, they had to go across with all of their belongings and their children. So God did a miracle like he did at the Red Sea when Pharaoh and his army had been chasing them. He made the water in the river separate so they could walk through on dry ground.
Wow.
The priest went first carrying the ark, and as soon as they stepped into the water, the river stopped flowing. It stayed that way until the priest stepped back out of the water after all the people had made it to the other side of the river.
Wait, the priests were carrying the ark? You mean that boat that held all the animals during the flood?
Oh, that would have been heavy. It was large enough to hold 2 elephants and 2 rhinoceroses.
And 2 hippos?
That's approximately 17 metric tons right there.
Guys, it wasn't Noah's Ark. It was the Ark of the Covenant. That was a box made of gold that held the stones that the 10 Commandments were written on.
Oh.
Also, do you remember what the Israelites ate during the 40 years they were in the wilderness? It rained down from heaven each day?
Manna?
Right, that's very good. Well, there was also a jar of manna in the Ark of the Covenant, so they'd always remember how God provided for them for 40 years in the wilderness. But as soon as they crossed the Jordan River into the Promised Land, the manna stopped. That's because the people could start eating the food that grew in the land. They were able to eat corn the very first day.
Oh, then they can make cornbread.
And popcorn with extra butter.
Yep, lots of yummy stuff. But now that they were on the side of the river where the city of Jericho was, they had to come up with a battle plan.
Oh, I would have just radioed the Air Force and had them take out the wall with some missiles.
Billy, there were no airplanes or missiles or Air Force back then.
I would have built an earthen siege ramp and an iron-capped battering ram. Fundamental engineering and military strategy.
Well, that would have taken a long time to pile up enough dirt to make a ramp, and I'm not sure where they would have gotten iron or anything big enough to hit and break down the wall. Besides, God had a different plan to defeat Jericho.
Rocket launchers?
No, Billy, this was Bible times.
Tunneling under the wall?
Nope. God told Joshua that they were to walk around the entire city 6 days in a row without talking. And then on the 7th day, they were to walk around it 7 times and then let out a big shout.
I'm not sure how walking around the wall 13 times and then shouting would have any effect, unless somehow the sound vibrations from the shouting could have compromised its structural integrity. I'm just doing the math in my head, but according to my calculations, that would have a 0.008% chance of being effective, and that rounds up to a 0% chance.
Well, it usually wouldn't work. But remember, this is what God told them to do, and He can make things happen that are impossible. Think about what had just happened with the Jordan River.
Oh, yeah. Well, did it work, Miss April?
Yep. When they finished walking around it the 7th time on the 7th day, and they all shouted and the priests blew their trumpets, the wall fell down.
Miss April, what about Miss Rahab and her family? You said that the wall fell down, but her house was on the wall.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Was Miss Rahab okay?
Yes, her and her family were safe. Even though the most dangerous place in Jericho that day was on the wall, since she had helped the Israelite spies, God protected her and her family. Her house turned out to be the only safe place to be.
Miss April, it seems to me like for everybody who trusted God, it turned out good for them. Joshua, the spies, Rahab, the Israelites.
That's right, Billy. That's a very smart observation. Maybe you should go to that gifted school with Hezekiah.
Oh, it's so much fun. Tomorrow we're conjugating verbs the whole day.
Oh, that's okay. I don't even know what a verb is, let alone how to congregate it.
Conjugate.
Conversate. Plus, they don't even get recess, and that's my best subject.
Well, we're going to be talking some more about Joshua and the Battle of Jericho.
Okay, but first I gotta go show Hezekiah where his little sister's class is.
I forgot to give the teachers her animal cracker snack.
Okay, see you guys in a bit.